And we are back for another episode of Behind the Uniform. This is when we give you an inside look, an inside view at the person behind that uniform, underneath that helmet, where you understand what it is that makes these young men go, and young women, by the way, as we will be talking to some female student athletes in the coming weeks and months as well, so stay tuned for that. Helping us along the way with this platform are very generous sponsors who understand the vision. Starting, of course, with our presenting sponsor here on Behind the Uniform, Golden Limo. When it comes to getting to your destination, they get you there on time, every time, whether it's executive transport, airport transport, game day transport. Golden Limo is the executive service, the transportation service that you need to use, and some great opportunities coming up in season. Here's a look at just a few of them. If you have ground transportation needs, get to your destination on time, every time with Golden Limo. Their fleet of charter buses, executive sprinters, mid-size vans, party buses, luxury SUVs, and even a trolley, their service and attention to every detail is second to none, and their track record for safety is beyond reproach. Whether you're traveling in Southeast Michigan, throughout the United States, or even abroad, Golden Limo has you covered. And now when you make a reservation with Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket, you'll be supporting Michigan NIL and a great military charity. Golden Limo founder and CEO Sean Duvall has been a great supporter of Michigan NIL, first through his NIL partnership with Will Johnson and his toy drive, and then through Will's Golden Limo NIL ambassadorship. And now in 2024, Sean and Golden Limo are back with an NIL partnership with Zeke Berry. Sean Duvall also comes from a military family and is a passionate supporter of military charities. One of those charities is Freedom River. Freedom River is a comprehensive outdoor recreation center located in Brighton, Michigan that assists in reassimilation of U.S. military service members, veterans, and their families. A portion of your reservation fee will go there, and that's not all. There's one more perk. Once a month, one Golden Ticket reservation will be selected to attend an exclusive party after the season. That party will include Zeke Berry, Samaj Morgan, maybe some other guests. I know it will include the film study crew, Al Borges, Vance Bedford, doing an exclusive film study breakdown in front of the audience that is at that party. It'll have the Dropping Dimes crew with Devin Gardner, Daniel Horton. Maybe it'll include you, but only if you book through Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket once per month. A Golden Ticket reservation will be selected to go to that party with 3 guests, but only if you book your reservation through Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket. All you have to do to book your Golden Ticket reservation is go to goldenlimo.com/Golden Ticket or call their team at 734-668-8282 and mention Golden Ticket to book your transportation reservations today. So be sure to take advantage of those opportunities. You can find out more about them at goldenlimo.com. You can follow them on Twitter, on Facebook as well. You can also follow them on all of our social platforms. But when I say they understood the vision, when I talk about Behind the Uniform, yes, we want to entertain you. We want to engage you. We want to inform you about these Michigan student athletes. But we also want to uplift them. Feel like we have a responsibility as they are in this NIL age, earning money. We want to help them learn and grow when it comes to their financial wellness and literacy and education. And so that's what the platform is about as well. That's where some of our other sponsors have come in. The University of Michigan Credit Union. We'll talk about their engagement with student athletes as well as Morgan Stanley, who've done the same. We'll get into that when we talk about our financial literacy bootcamp. But now, I want to welcome in our next guest on Behind the Uniform. Young man I remember going to see a few years back. Made it out to the Bay Area to see one Mr. Zeke Berry. So sure. Zeke, welcome to Behind the Uniform, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. I remember going out to De La Salle for the first time. I heard so much about the storied program that they were, or that they are. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like so many great players have come before you. So I was like, man, you know, this is going to be I'm going to be an outstanding player. And then I went out. And you were even more impressive than I had heard, because I don't know how many positions you played that day, but it felt like I saw you at running back. Yeah. I saw you line up at receiver. Mm-hmm. I saw you line up at linebacker. I saw you come off the edge. I saw you line up at safety. It was at least 5 positions that day.
Oh, yeah. I was all over the field that day.
Yeah, so your recruitment, man, let's start there. Let's start at the beginning of your big time recruitment.
Okay.
Because what I remember was you were kind of an under the radar prospect. I'm talking about you playing all those positions at a storied program. Mm-hmm. How does a guy like Zeke Berry with that much talent in a school like that go under the radar?
Well, I mean, the area that I'm from, we're usually under recruited. You know, the Bay Area, Northern California isn't really recruited as much as, you know, Southern California. You know, they have a lot of guys out there that usually go to camps, you know, get their name out there. And I remember actually playing Modern Day, and I seen all these guys get offers and all that. I'm like, okay, like what are they doing that I need to be doing that's different? And I see them, they all work out with like NFL guys, they all these trainers and these camps, you know, and make themselves known. I was like, okay, I picked some of the stuff up from them and started doing it, and then after that, my recruitment just skyrocketed.
So still, I'm struggling a little bit understanding, because even out here, Michigan people know Concord De La Salle. Yeah. I mean, some of the best. Amani Toomer, I know is decades ago.
Yeah.
But Amani Toomer came from Concord De La Salle. A couple of decades, or a decade after that, Matt Gutierrez comes from Concord De La Salle. There have been some great players that have come from that school. How do players from that school go? And I know he didn't go to your school, but Najee Harris came just a couple years ago. Came from up there. So what do you mean guys from Northern California go under the radar, go under recruited?
You know, there's a couple of guys, you know, they got the talent, you know, in the headspace to keep themselves working hard. I mean, they're going to get out there and get recruited, you know. But usually it was really slow for me because I got a couple schools. You know, I talked to a couple of schools, but it was mainly lower schools. It wasn't really any Power 5, you know, like, so I don't know. I would just say.
So give me an example of what school. So give me a concrete example, like SC. So I know SC recruited you.
Yeah.
I know they obviously recruit Southern. They recruit Modern Day. Yeah. You know, they had some guys, big time guys. You know, Damani was going there.
Yeah.
When they were recruiting those guys and they were recruiting you, what exactly did USC say to you about why they weren't kind of jumping in feet first at that time?
Usually they had said is the talent factor. You know, not much talent comes from Northern California. All the talent is in SoCal.
They actually said those words.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As I guess to me, what sticks out to me was Brandon Huffman. Shout out to B Huff. That's my guy.
That's my man.
He recognized it. He recognized it.
Yeah,
because it felt like Huff kind of put you out there for everybody to see. Because that's how I found out about your name. Like, if Huff says this dude can play, he can play. So I would think some coaches would do the same thing, and you don't need to see you around a bunch of other guys to know if you have talent or not. At least that's what Huff did.
Yeah, he helped me all the way through my process. Shout out to him. He was a main person in my recruitment process.
All right. So you get through the process, you get recruited, and then Arizona, right? It was Arizona. Yeah. So how did that all come about?
I had actually that was my first visit was to Arizona, and they were recruiting me because, I were committed to them because they have some guys or some coaches that were at Michigan, and they were trying to, you know, take that culture over there to that school, and they was telling me like, oh, you're gonna be at this position, you're gonna be like the star of the team and all that other stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just try it out, let's see how it goes.
Right. So, but was that a piece of it though, that they had come from Michigan? Was that a part of what appealed to you about Arizona?
Yeah, because I knew the coaching was going to be higher level than what the college is.
Okay. So then, when Michigan came knocking, how did that hit you?
I mean, when I got the call and they said I had an official offer, I mean, it was crazy. I didn't really expect to get any big colleges like that. And when I took my visit here, they played Ohio State. And I seen how they play Big Ten football, and I was like, yeah, I need to be here.
And so at the time, man, I mean, that's a big jump. I mean, I know it's not like Arizona is an hour away. Yeah, I mean, it's still a plane ride. But Michigan is across the country.
Yeah.
You come from a big family, man.
Oh, yeah.
I remember being at your family is at your game. Your family represents your games, right? So that's a commitment. To go across the country. So how big of a deal was that for you to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna pick up and leave all of that and go off on my own to Ann Arbor?
I mean, it was something that I struggled with, moving that far away from my family. In high school, they came to every game, no matter if it was baseball, track, or football. And, moving that far away from my family, it was something that it was really hard for me. But I made the decision because, I feel like this place was going to help me grow other than other schools. So no matter how far it was and what my goal was going to be, whatever I wanted, I was going to go get.
Did you struggle with it at any point, though?
Nah, I struggled with it. Yeah, it was hard at the beginning. I would talk to them every day, just to check in, see how my people's doing back at home. But, they helped me through it, too. So.
What was harder, being away from home or not playing? Or did not playing make being away from home harder? I mean, did it go hand in hand?
I would say being away from home and not playing made it really hard, But even though I wasn't playing, I would still call them and be like, this is how I feel like right now, like not be able to play. And they would just be like, it's okay, like your time's gonna come, keep your head down, keep working.
Mm-hmm. So what did Dante, who I I have talked to, that's who I met first, before I met you.
Yeah.
I met your brother Dante. And so what did he say to you when you called home? He was like, man, this is tough. Because how he impressed me, his personality, he impressed me being a lot like Clink, personality-wise.
Yeah, nah.
And so when you called him, what exactly did he say? How did he come back at you? You say, man, I'm kind of feeling homesick. What did he say?
Well, he was just like, what did he say? Well, he was, how he could get, but he was just like, this is the decision that you made. And, like, no matter what it is, like, don't quit. Like, keep your head down and compete. And I was like, all right, let's get it done.
So I always, by the way, I've known Clink. I never told this story. I've never told my first Clink story. Yeah. So I'll tell it here on Behind the Uniform. My first Clink story, Clink was at Illinois. And he was recruiting a guy, or they had gotten a guy named Rion Dawson.
Okay.
And Rion Dawson was from Trotwood, Madison. And Michigan to start recruiting him. And so I had done an interview with Rion. I know his coach, who still, Mo Douglas, still coaching down there in Ohio. And so Mo hooked me up with him, and I called him on the phone, and I did an interview. And so, man, like 2 days later, I get a call on the phone. And it's some guy I don't know. It's like, hey, man, why you recruit my player from Michigan? And I'm like, man, who is this? And he said, this is Steve Clinkscale. I'm like, man, who? He's like, hey, you need to start recruiting a player from Michigan. I was like, hey, man, I don't know you. You don't know me. Don't be calling me like that. Right? That's how we met, right? Like, what you see is what you get, for real. What you get kind of guy, right? And so, we had that. That's how that was our first exchange. And so I think I saw him somewhere like a month later. And, I'm the type of guy, if we have some words, we gonna meet up and kind of meet face to face and talk. And so we got real cool after that, right? Because he's the same kind of way. Like, if I got some words with you, let's see each other kind of thing. And we've been cool ever since. But I could see how, for a young guy, when you're around that all the time, how that can be like very grating. So what was it like when you got here as a young player? How did you take to that? Was it something that sort of grew you, or was it something that you had to get used to?
I mean, I was already used to it, because De La Salle, I had a head coach that was always hard on me because he knew the potential that I had. So, I was used to having a coach who's always on you, wanting the best out of you. So it wasn't really anything that was new to me, but, sometimes I practice, I have a bad practice. I already get in my own head, and I got Coach Clink on my back, and I'm like, I just got to do better. And it just like something that, kind of put me down sometimes, but I knew he was just doing it because he knew I could be great.
Yeah, okay, all right. So, different guys take it different ways. We talked to Rob. Rob was like, sometimes I got to pull the young dudes aside.
Yeah, he did to me one time. I was hot at practice one time. I was like, bruh.
He said, sometimes I got to pull the young guys aside and say, hey, okay, listen. Don't take it so personally.
Yeah.
This is how he gets on the practice field. Like he just tried to get you better. So, but take me in that moment. Take me in that practice that you're talking about, and what Rod did, because that sounds like that's one of your mentors on this team.
Yeah. I remember we was in the red zone. We called this play, and I had this ball get caught on me, and I was like, all right, I messed up one time. And then we had the same thing happen again. And I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, I'm just getting mad at myself. I come to the sideline, Coach Clink in my face, like, getting on me. And I'm just like, damn. Like, I had to walk away from the team, from the DBs, and just, tell myself, calm down. And then Rod came over and was like, hey, bro, like it's going to happen. Like, you're not going to be perfect. And Clink just on you because you know how Clink can be. And I was like, all right, for sure. And I went back out there, practiced him even good.
Yeah, hearing Will and Rod especially talk about it, it's like, hey man, this dude get kind of, when you first hear it, that's the thing. He said when you first hear it, you be like, well, hold up, man.
Yeah.
And then you got it when somebody pulls you to the side and kind of tells you, hey, understand that's how he coaches. You just got to get used to it. Yeah. You move past it, and he said now you understand it just gets you better, and so now you're able to function. So it sounds like you got to that point to where it started helping you. So when did it start to click? When did you start to see yourself or feel yourself getting better? We'll start talking about this spring ball a little bit later in the show, but when did you start behind the scenes, start to feel like, hey man, I'm starting to get it, and I'm starting to feel like myself again as a player?
I would say sophomore year, spring. So this last spring, I would say I was starting to feel more confident in my playing abilities, and being in the film room and starting to try to understand the game and learn to play. But I feel like that's what's been helping me.
Because here's why I asked that question. I remember talking to Clink one time, because he would always, I remember back before the 22 season, he was like, because Dax went off to the NFL, he was like, hey man, Mikey, we're not gonna have any drop off. Like, I'm watching this dude in the spring ball, Mikey's about to, he's like, man, he's gonna be just as good. I was like, stop it, man. He was right. And then I remember around that same time, because I think, was that your freshman year that you came in? Or I can't. It was after you had been here for a minute, and he was talking about you and Damani Dent.
Yeah, freshman year.
Yeah, and he was like, man, I told one guy you talk too much, and I told one guy you need to talk more.
Yeah.
Who do you think he was talking? Who needs to talk more, and who talked too much? You know who he was talking about?
I was the one that for sure needs to talk a little bit more. Yeah.
Did he used to tell you that you need to talk more?
All the time, yeah. He used to say that all the time in meetings, on the field, all that.
And so is that something that you embraced? Are you more of a talker on the field now?
I feel like, yeah. Now that I'm getting more confident, in my ability, I feel like it's allowing me to be more vocal on the field and in the meeting room. Absolutely, man. And you definitely hearing that from guys on the team. So now, and again, we'll get to spring ball. But you're a ball player. Yeah. I could see that the first time I watched you play. Both sides of the ball, playmaker. It was unbelievable. Like, man, this dude, if you wanted to play offense, you could. Yeah. You're on the championship team, though, with dudes in front of you. It's a bunch of ballers. And we're in the NIL era. And I know it's schools coming for you. I know it's teams back out west of like, hey, you can come back home. We had Gio El Hadi over here yesterday. He was like, hey, man, listen, I got guys in front of me that I thought were going to go to the league, and they came back. And I had schools putting real money on the table that would take care of my family. I had to pray on it to decide to stay here and compete. I had to make that decision. And it wasn't like it was this easy decision, but I decided to stay. So for you, faced with similar circumstances, was it a hard thing? Did you hear a lot of calls? When confronted with that, when did you come to it in your mind that, you know what, I'm not going to listen to all of that. I'm going to stay here, stick it out, and stay at Michigan? I mean, it was for sure a thing that was really hard because just like Gio, I had other schools, coming to me with, different NIL deals, that had me in a good position, and just talking with my family, we had got on the calls, my mom and my brother, and we talked about actually leaving, and I was just like, because I wasn't already playing. You know, I was sitting behind some guys, and I was just like, I just felt defeated, and I wanted to leave. But, you know, after getting on that call with my family, you know, I just wanted to stay here and just put my head down and compete with the other guys. You know, even though that the other guys are still here, I feel like I can still work hard and get above them.
So let's lay it out. Was it something that you said to them, this is what I wanted to do? Or was it something that they said, hey Zeke, this is what you should do? How did that go? What was that back and forth like?
I mean, I had told them that I wanted to stay, you know, and compete, but we talked about all the other schools and what they were offering and all that. And I considered it, you know, being in the position I was in, but what I wanted to do, I didn't want to quit, you know, so I wanted to stay and compete.
And so this is after, though, coaching change. Clink's out. Jesse Mentor leaves. You know, Coach Harbaugh leaves. I imagine you got to think about that, too, in the process. So how big was it that they named Coach Moore the head coach? I mean, did that play a big role in you decide, you know, I want to stick this out?
I mean, yeah, definitely the coaching change did have a big impact on me staying, you know, because as soon as I heard that the coaches was leaving and we had some new guys coming in, I was like, okay, then this is my chance to prove myself. Like, they don't know who I am, but they're going to get to know what I can do. You know what I mean? So that's why I stayed, because I was like, this ain't going to happen no more. Like, I'm going to get on that field.
So you saw it as an opportunity.
Yeah, as an opportunity for sure.
To really show yourself when they came. I hear that. All right. So we're going to come back around. We'll reset after we talk about some financial literacy. I said at the beginning of the episode, at the beginning of every episode, that one of the goals of the platform is to enhance the financial literacy of the student athletes. That's why we engage in what we call the Financial Literacy Bootcamp. One of our partners in the Financial Literacy Bootcamp is the University of Michigan Credit Union. And so before we came along, I mean, for forever, you know, the University of Michigan Credit Union, great partners in the community with their patrons forever. The financial support they offer their customers is boundless, has no peer. But they also have been supportive of, you know, financial wellness and setting a foundation for young people. And that's why we thought it would be a good idea to engage them in our endeavor of helping student athletes when it comes to enhancing their financial wellness. And so they said, yeah, we can do that. And that's how they came up with their playbook for prosperity. So Zeke, their playbook for prosperity called for them to bring you out and take you through some of the paces when it came to financial literacy. They wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the things you needed to know about. So when you made your way over to UMCU, give us some of your biggest takeaways.
Some of my biggest takeaways was, for sure, taxes. Got to pay taxes when you get money, you know. Credit. You know, being able to have a budget for yourself so you can maintain the money that you have, and just things like that.
Awesome.
If it's okay, I just wanted just to do a little bit of an icebreaker related to today's topic. I'm just going to give you 2 words, and I just want you to tell me what resonates with you more. Where do you kind of go? Saver or spender? Zeke, where do you think? Where do you end up?
I'm gonna say I'm in the middle too. Like,
Okay.
I would spend my money most on food,
Right.
but other than that, I try to save money as much as I can.
It's interesting as you get a little bit older. I would be curious. You know, 5-10 years from now, would you answer differently or the same in terms of today? We sometimes we change as we get a little bit older. Sometimes we stay. You know, our money personalities somewhat stay the same. But spontaneous or planner when it comes to your finances. Have you ever heard this acronym FOMO? FOMO.
What is it?
Yeah. Anyone ever heard that?
Missing out.
Well,
Fear of missing out.
yeah, a little bit, and it kind of plays into you know, being spontaneous, right? Yeah.
See, but what about YOLO though?
Anyone ever heard of that one?
Yeah.
I hear that. Yeah, you only live. Well, you're right. We're humans, right? Money is not always black and white. emotions and values. So what do you think?
For right now, I would say I would be a planner.
You would, yeah. Kind of spend some time thinking ahead a little bit like that. So good stuff. And this one will probably be a little easier for you guys. And I'll start over here with you, Zeke. Worrier or confident? Where would you tend to financially right now?
I see you trying to get a clarifier.
Worrier or confident?
In my position, I would say I'm confident.
Okay.
Right now.
Good for you.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to be worried, so
All right.
I want to keep the confidence.
Yeah.
So taxes, you led with taxes.
Yeah.
So this is, if I rewind when I first started talking to student athletes about NIL, in that first year, taxes hit some of those dudes like a brick, like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
They spent the money, and when tax time hit, it was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so now you're in a position where you get some NIL money, and it sounds like you need to be made aware of, look, you need to be put some of this aside for these tax payments that are about to come.
Oh yeah. I mean, what I had did when I had got the couple of checks that I have, I mean, I didn't even spend it. I had put it in a separate account and just let it sit there, because I don't want to, be one of those guys that just spend all the money and then tax come and you got to pay and you got nothing left to pay. So it's like, that's something that I'm worried about, So I don't want to be, in that position.
So did they give you an idea about how much you need to be setting aside for taxes? Did you get an idea of what the tax sort of commitment has to be for you?
We didn't really go in depth for me a lot, but when I meet with them again, then they'll give me a more, a plan for me, what I need to do.
All right, and so you said budgeting. Sounds like that was a big part of your meeting over there too.
Let's talk a little bit about the plan. Not to put you on the spot. I'll start with you, Zeke, if it's okay. If I just said, hey, listen, how do you get through the month financially? Do you have a notebook, a spreadsheet? Do you just kind of wing it? How do you get through the month to make sure that you're staying financially well?
Usually always write how much money that's coming in that month, and then I would try to ration out how much I could spend throughout that month just to keep a higher.
Nice. Yeah. Just sort of find out where the dollars are going, what you're spending your money on, stuff like that. Good.
Mostly groceries and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, budgeting. Yeah. What they had talked about for me is to save more than what you spend. So that's something that I took in my head and run with it. So.
All right, and then credit?
Credit, yeah. That's because we had talked about either buying a house and getting a car, and you're gonna need credit. And we did this little interaction with numbers. They had cards with numbers on it, and you either had a 700 credit score, 600, and then I think it was like a 730. And then we did that. And for getting a car, and what I'm trying to do in my position, you need a credit score that's going to be, kind of high. So that's something that I'm really focused on and trying to get up right now.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so some meaningful tools that you picked up over the University of Michigan Credit Union, and not the only time that you're going to be meeting with them over there at UMCU. Their Playbook for Prosperity, again, doing their part in helping enhance the financial wellness and literacy of Michigan student athletes. As from there, Zeke, you made your way over to Morgan Stanley, and so the way that I've sort of positioned this is I look at UMCU as helping set a foundation, and then I look at Morgan Stanley as helping you guys build on the foundation when it comes to investments, growing that wealth. And so what did you take from your interaction with them?
I took away the plan that they had for me to, either to save money, grow it. And some things that I took away was, just like some things from the UMC, budgeting, investing, credit. Then that was the main things that I took away.
So you investing, stocks.
Yeah.
Had you thought much about that, heard much about them, done much with that before you made your way over to Morgan Stanley?
I mean, yeah, I would used to go on YouTube, watch videos on some things you need to do to invest. And I was looking at stocks and bonds and all the other stuff. I couldn't really get it on my own, but with Morgan Stanley, they have a team that can help me with it. So, I mean, why not work with them?
Yeah, so now you have someone to assist you with that process. Now, hearing from some of your teammates, and this was this was something they had to get used to. The idea of, but hey, you take some of that money that you're getting now, you put it aside right now, and you just don't touch it. Not for just a year or 10 years or 20 years, but you don't touch it for 30 years.
Yeah.
And then when you retire, that money that you made NIL-wise in college could be a big chunk of change. Did they kind of get into that thought process with you at all?
Nah, yeah, for sure. We talked about, long-term investing, and short-term investing, but long-term was mainly my focus because I want to have, generational wealth if I could.
All right, so already wrapping your mind around the idea of the long game.
Yeah.
If we want to have the football pun, stick with it. And hopefully, man, I keep telling, I'm going to tell you like I told your teammates, spread the word. Too many guys out here. What did Gio say? He said, some of us, we aren't very what did he say? We aren't very smart with our money. He said, we aren't very smart with our money. We're trying to change that, Gio. We're trying to change that,
We're
Zeke.
change that.
Yeah, let's help some of these young men and women be smarter with their money. So your part is to spread the word. You learning something about it, tell these other student athletes some things about it. Not just student athletes, but other young people about it so they can be better off down the line. And we feel like we're doing our part with the Financial Literacy Bootcamp.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Zeke, we fast forward to this spring, and this new coaching staff comes in, and you already know Coach Moore. Let's start though with, you said a big part of it was Coach Moore stayed. What's the vibe like with Coach Moore? Because talking to all the guys, it's like, hey, you knew he was going to maintain the culture.
Oh yeah. Every day he in the weight room working out with us. Even in the team meeting, he told us that the culture is not going to change, and we got a standard that's going to be here, and we're just going to stay there the whole year. But I love Coach Moore. He's a great guy. He loves all his players. He says hi to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a walk-on scholarship guy. He'll take some time to sit down and talk to you. It doesn't matter. All right. So then Coach Wink was the next coach to come in. We'll get to Coach Morgan. He was the next coach that for your side of the ball that's going to be coaching you directly to come in. So what's the vibe like with Coach Wink? Coach Wink, he cool. He got some swag to him, even though he's a little bit older, but he cool. Coming from, I think he was at the Giants, right?
Yeah, last
coming from the Giants. Yeah, I mean, Coach Wink is a cool coach. Smart. And just being around him, and picking his brain also about football in general and things like that. He feel like he's going to make me grow a lot more.
All right, so then Coach Morgan comes in, and it's very clear that he saw something in you right away, clearly, because the talk was Zeke in the safety rotation, and then by the time you get to his first press conference, he's talking about you not only as a safety, he's talking about you as the nickel, and being very prominent. And then by the time we hear from Coach Moore, he's talking about you as maybe being like coming in as not calling you the next, but basically playing Mikey's role. Like being the nickel.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Zeke is really, come on, he just shouted you out at Big Ten Media Days. And so it really feels like the vibe, the connection with Coach Morgan was immediate. That's our impression from the outside. Give us your impression from the inside.
As soon as he came in, I had met with him in his office, and we just talked, about, personal life, gotten to know each other other than football. And after that, got on the field, coached me up, went out there and worked. And then he just keeps grooming me every day.
Coaching style.
Calm, a lot calmer.
You said a lot calmer. You said calmer. That's a comparative term. Calmer compares to something or someone. So
yeah, a lot calmer.
So clearly we are talking about compared to Clink. So it's two different coaching styles, both very effective.
Yeah.
But clearly, you're coming in, and so if we're talking about his coaching style, give me an example of how you've responded to, how has it helped you, not to say that you wouldn't have been responding to Clink, but how has Coach Morgan's coaching style kind of helped you along the way? How did it help you along the way in the spring?
I would say when I mess up on things, like, I usually get in my own head. Like, I'm usually the one, like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, you know what you had to do. Like, do it right the next time. And from Coach Morgan, I would always get on myself first, and then having Coach Morgan just, be like, has a calm perspective on coaching. And it's just like, okay, he would tell me, do this and then do that, but won't get in my head, like, get on me and get in my face about it. So, that's been helping me a lot, because then that calms me down. Mm-hmm. And then I can play better from that.
Yeah. Listen, the other way works too.
Mm-hmm.
No, the other way works too.
I'll make sure I ain't going to do it next time if the other goes wrong.
Right. Both styles work. But it's interesting. The contrast is interesting for sure. Now, I'm interested to find out whether the nickel piece was always the plan. Because, recruited as a safety, talked about as a safety, projected as one of the replacements as safety, but now the projection is, hey, man, Zeke, and again, outside projections, but Zeke looks like, hey, you're the Mikey in the defense now. Was that always the plan, or was that something that evolved over the course of the spring?
After coming off of the national championship last season, me and Coach Clink talked about the change in position, me learning that nickel spot. And after that, it just carried into the new coaching staff, and I just ran with it.
All right, so it's a different position, for sure.
Yeah.
And we saw a little bit of you in the spring. Did you lead the squad in TFLs? I don't know. Are you in that backfield?
I was there, though. I was there.
You were there. So definitely, Coach Wink, he's like, I think he feels like he has a weapon in you as a blitzer. Seems like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like the blitz, but they got a lot of variety of different things they got me doing. Even though nickel's a different spot from the safety, it's not that much different. It still has some similarities and different coverages, but something that I was nice with.
So, one of the things that Coach Wink says, he said, man, I'm the godfather of all of this. He says, what Coach Mack was doing and Coach Mentor was, what they were doing.
Top dog right there.
Kind of started with me,
yeah.
right? He makes that very clear. Now, they put their own spin on it. I am curious, him coming in, without giving away too much, what kind of differences do you see? Like, what's his spin? Can you feel how different, where his approach is different from Coach Mentor or Coach Mack?
I would just say a lot of moving parts, a lot more energy, and that's what I would say about it.
I got you. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to get into a little deeper is your connection with your guys. You already shouted out Rod as a guy who really helps you along, and I can feel that. We were down in Big Ten Media Days, and Makari shouted you out.
Yeah.
I want to know if you heard it. We can.
He's just so smooth. Like he kind of remind me of Dax Hill a little bit. The way he moves, the way he play, it's similar to Dax. But yeah, he's just so smooth in everything you do, and you make plays. So yeah.
And so you heard him right there say, Zeke Berry. He said Zeke's so smooth with it. He kind of reminds me of Dax Hill.
Yeah.
So had you heard that already?
No, yeah, I heard that before. My freshman year, whenever I would do some DB drills, they would always say I would look smooth like Dax Hill would look whenever he would do it. So I've been hearing it a lot, but it's something good to hear, you know what I mean? So it's nice to hear from, especially a guy like Makari.
So I'm curious when you hear something like that. I'm always want to pick the brains of players when you hear comparisons to one of the best to ever do it at Michigan, even one of the best athletes to ever play here for sure. Is that pressure? How do you look at that?
I wouldn't say pressure, because when they say things like that, for me, I haven't done nothing in my mind. I still got to go out there and play. So once I've done something, then I'll be like, okay, then I can see why you guys compare me to him. But to me, I haven't done nothing. I need to do it first.
Yeah, and so that kind of segues into my next question. If you play nickel, you're coming in behind clearly one of the Mikey Sainristel is one of the all-time great players in Michigan history.
Oh, yeah.
Like an absolute dog.
Yeah.
Those are big shoes. Is that pressure?
Nope, not pressure. He was a great player. Being able just to watch him at practice. It was something that was just crazy. But I feel like I'm a pretty good player too, and I can switch up the little legacy that he left behind.
So when you say watching him in practice, what did you take away? I heard guys talk about that. It's like, man, he was just different. What was so amazing about watching him in practice?
Just seeing him move around, getting in and out of his breaks, hearing him communicate, and just after he would come out, I would sometimes ask him a question like what did you see on that play? And like he would like break down like what did you see, and I'm just like, you seen all that, like before the play. And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, wow.
Hey, they were running a pick play. Washington was in the national championship game, and he stepped up and called it out so cold. Because shout out to Vance Bedford, we do a breakdown show, and he was like, the way Mikey Sainristel just called out this route combination at the line of scrimmage. He said, man, I don't even coach it like this.
Yeah.
The way he called it out. He called out what everybody was supposed to. He was like, basically told Will, who you got. I don't know if it was Rod on the other side. Might have been Rod on the other side. But he basically said, I got point man. Just, my man, come over here. You come right. Called it all out beforehand. And then one of the receivers did an interview after. He's like, man, I'm listening to this dude calling out all our plays.
Yeah, he was good at that. I mean, it was just crazy just to see how his mind just worked. Like, he really knew football.
So, can you learn that? Is that something that you can pick up as you know, the guys that come behind him? Or are you guys able to take that skill from him, or is that just something that he just had a talent for?
I mean, it's definitely, he did have a talent for it. I feel like anybody can pick it up, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of experience and a long time in the meeting room, to be as sharp as he was.
All right, and so now I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, you've had some additions in the room, some transfers, and I wonder how you feel like they've acclimated. Like, we're going to have Jaden Mangum on the platform. He's coming on behind the uniform, so Jaden and Wes Walker. I mean, you've had some guys come in the DB room. So how have they kind of fit into the room and fit into the culture?
I mean, they fit in good. They already just like brothers to us. I mean, we all cool, talk. We all went to dinner like the other day. So I mean, they've been good since they've been here. Great guys. I was just talking to Jaden yesterday on his transfer from Michigan State to Michigan, and how that was, just to see how he is. You know what I mean? So. I mean, they're doing really good right now.
Yeah, that was another one that Makari shouted out. Hey, man, it's funny to see the guys grow, because Makari was a guy, when he first came, he didn't say a lot.
Yeah.
He just played, didn't say a lot. Now he says a lot. He was like, man, they're talking about Jaden Mangum. And he's like, we don't talk about Samaj Bridgman like that. He's like, hey, bro, good for you. This is a brotherhood over here.
Yeah.
We want to see him do well.
Yeah.
He said, I guess they take it personally. Now they talk about he's soft, but 2 minutes ago he was your teammate.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
That's something that we were talking about, actually, we was talking about yesterday.
He was like, how does that work? Yeah. So he's soft when 2 minutes ago he wasn't?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but, I mean, he's a cool dude. I like him.
Yeah, man. So, but I jumped around the mentorship and the brotherhood. You talked about Rod Moore. What about Makari?
I mean, Makari, he was the guy that didn't really, speak a lot, just like you said, being me as a freshman. But, as I got older and had more time at the program, I started to pick other brains and not just Rod's and Mikey's. And going to Makari, some things that he explained to me that, Mikey and Rod didn't, So, I mean, just being able to, have a guy like that, Makari, talk about me and help me out, I mean, it's something that I can take forever.
I got you. All right, so as we round things down here, or wind things down here, Zeke, give me an idea what your offseason was like, what post-spring was like. What did you do to get better? Spring was one thing, and clearly you had stepped things up a notch. What did you do after that to get better heading into the fall?
I started to take care of my body, getting in the cold tub, start eating right, stretching, getting rolled out. Stayed in the meeting room, got in the playbook, watched film. I started contacting the coaches more, and just had a desire on, I need to get better and I need to get on this field.
Yeah, that sounds like something that comes with age, man. Yeah. That maturity, like, look, I got to be about my business.
Yeah, like, this is an opportunity. I'm not going to let it slide. Like, I'm taking it right now.
Yeah, that's one of those things that some guys, like Rod, I remember talking to some of the older guys about it. It's like noticing that about him. He was a older guy. He had an older guy's mentality as a freshman. Like he was doing that as a freshman, which was unnatural.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of guys, it takes them a year or two to kind of get that mindset. Hey man, it's not just going to practice. There's a lot of time and energy you have to exert after practice on your own time to be as good as Rod is now, Mikey is now, how good Zeke is gonna be moving forward. So as we look ahead to this season, man, play it out for me. Give me the vision of Zeke Berry in 2024.
I would say the vision is keep my head straight. You know, stay in the meeting room, stay on the coaches, stay on the guys that's older than me, keep picking their brains, you know, and just do everything that I can do to help this team be what we want to be.
Zeke, appreciate you, man.
Oh yeah.
Looking for you to do your thing this year. Good luck out there, and thanks a lot for stopping by the platform.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me.
And folks, thanks for watching another edition of Behind the Uniform. As I always say, when it comes to all of these episodes, you can always check them out over on our YouTube page, which wouldn't be possible without our great sponsors. Of course, our presenting sponsor at Golden Limo gets you to your destination on time, every time. Some great opportunities that we told you about earlier in the show. Be sure to take advantage this fall. You do not want to miss out on the great options that they have available to you. If you have ground transportation needs, get to your destination on time, every time with Golden Limo. Ride like the Wolverines. Feel like a Wolverine when you ride with Golden Limo, the proud transportation partner for many of Michigan's sports teams and the primary transportation provider for Michigan Wolverines football. All you have to do to book your Golden Ticket reservation is go to goldenlimo.com/golden ticket or call their team at 734-668-8282 and mention Golden Ticket to book your transportation reservations today. And of course, our great sponsors with UMCU and Morgan Stanley. Until the next time, thanks for watching another edition of Behind the Uniform.